Hello. So today I am making some patty melts and some homemade french fries. So I have my potatoes here. I have 5 russet potatoes. I'm just going to cut them up. And I peeled them, washed them, peeled them, and then now I'm cutting them. So I have a mandolin, but if you don't have a mandolin, you can just, well, there's YouTube videos online, but you can cut them into strips if you want. I do have a crinkle cutter. I don't know if I'll use it. Maybe I will try it out this time. So this is the mandolin. I think that's what it's called. It's not set. Alright. So I think the setting now, I'll be able to make french fries with it. So with the mandolin, you just want to half everything. And I'll show you. So half your potato. And here we go. Then you want to put this in like that. And then take your thing. I don't know why I'm showing y'all instructions. I'm sure if you have a mandolin, you know how to use it. But in case you don't and you want to get a mandolin, I don't know what brand this is. Dash. I'm not sponsored. But then so you press this up here and it'll shoot out into this. Maybe this is a better way to show. And that's your fry shape. So these are going to be smaller. That's the one thing about this mandolin is that it makes smaller french fries. These are just cooked with me at this point because I don't even do a proper recipe video. So this is nearly full. So I like to take a bowl and put the fries in the bowl. And then I repeat that until all of it is done. I'm going to try a whole potato. See if that makes a difference. Probably not. Okay, they're a bit longer. Yeah, these are gonna be thicker fries. They're probably gonna take a long time to cook. So the trick is put the whole potato in there for longer french fries. And you kind of want to be quick because these will get, I forgot, oxygen, whenever the air reaches it and then it starts turning brown, that's what's going to happen. Oxidize, that's what's going to happen. I don't know if that's the proper term. I'm sure I'm going to have to edit the sound because this is probably really loud. Yeah, this is already drying up right now. I'm on my laptop again recording this. So if the quality is bad, I didn't even need a knife and a cutting board. So here I have a foil sheet and I'm going to put the oven on. You can put it on 380 degrees. I'm going to just put it on air fry. for probably 365 for about 15 minutes at first. 15, but you're going to need to put it on longer probably. The thing about if you do sweet potato fries, they're going to burn because of the sugar content. So I would just maybe you can deep fry them so they don't burn. So I'm going to put I have avocado oil here. I'm going to put about I'll say 3 tablespoons in the fries, and then you want to coat them. I wouldn't add seasoning on it now. I add it later. That was about a teaspoon. And then put it on your pan and spread them out. I'd say spread them out so they don't touch as best as you can. This is probably going to take a long time. So, while I start this, last time I made patty melts was around March. I remember it was March because I was sick. I was sick for like a week. It was bad. It was the worst sickness I've had in a long time. And so, at first, that whole day I was feeling fine. So I was like, okay, let me cook. But I thought I was fine, so I was like, okay, I'm going to go cook. I'm going to make this food. And towards the end of the day, it started hitting me, the sickness. So then I'm going to need to get another pan. So towards the end of, around the time I was trying to cook, the sickness started hitting me. And I was cooking, and it was just really bad. Eyes watering, all of that. So it was a rough go. And it didn't help that I was sick. I was feeling it lightheaded trying to make this food because I had already started. Then I started feeling sicker and sicker as the time went past. And it didn't help that when I was making this exact same meal, everything with the homemade fries. And I was using this mandolin, and I went to clean it. And, I need to change this. So the blade, I left the blades out in the mandolin because there's blades down in there. And I was cleaning it out, and I ended up cutting my finger. It was just like, ugh, what now? So I cut my finger, and I was just bleeding out. I had to do what I saw people do when they cut themselves in the kitchen, cut their fingers in the kitchen, and they put Band-Aids and wrap it, and then wear a glove. That's what I had to do. Felt like I was in the kitchen, or Food Network or something. So I was sick, and then I cut my finger. I started bleeding, and then I had already started, so I had to finish the meal. But it was good. But while I was eating, I was like, because my nose was running, so I had to go, the whole time. Yeah. But also during that time, I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender live action. I didn't really like it, but I'll watch season 2 and 3 because it got renewed for 2 and 3 more seasons. I didn't really like the live action though. But I saw there was an open casting call for the character Toph. She is the Earthbender, the blind Earthbender girl. So we're getting Toph next season. Ooh. Let me put that blade because I nearly cut myself again. And then I also watched Wonka. What are my thoughts on Wonka? Wonka, I did fall asleep towards the end of the movie. was a bit boring, but Timothée Chalamet, he did a good job as Wonka. I know a lot of people would like Timothée Chalamet as a Wonka. I don't know about that, but he did a good job. Alright, so I'm going to see. This is what makes these videos way too long. I start talking because I'm trying to fill the silence with a story time. But this makes the video longer. So I'm going to put this in the blue light in my glasses. It's always persisting. But I'm going to put this in the oven. I have it on air fry 365, so I'll put it for about 15 minutes, and then I'll check it and then flip it. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes. They're not ready, not at all. So I'm going to just flip them. Like, might take about 15, 20 more minutes maybe. 20 plus, yeah. I actually won't flip these anymore. They look like they need to crisp up a lot more. So, still 365. So, I have my ground beef here. It's about a pound of ground beef. I use market side. Not sponsored. I don't think I need to say that every time. Y'all know I'm not sponsored. So I just have some, to season it, I have some onion powder, some black pepper, and I have this steak and burger seasoning. And garlic powder. And I'm wearing some gloves too. And freezer paper, I don't know if I said that. I have the freezer paper so I can separate everything and season everything. Alright, so I'll put about a teaspoon of each seasoning on it. And probably 2 teaspoons for the steak and burger seasoning. So the steak and burger seasoning, it just has sea salt, black pepper, dill seed, coriander, red pepper, and dehydrated garlic if you want to make it. You're probably like, that's a lot of seasoning. I know. I had these down so they can hold the paper down. And then some onion powder. Now I'll mix it. I don't know if I've said this before. It just came to my mind. People, you can't see it right now. Just now I'm mixing it. The paper is coming up. But I've always known how to cook since I was about 5. So for several years now. And people always have asked me, when are you going to make some videos? When are you going to share your recipes? So I'm sharing my recipes now and letting y'all know how to cook what I make. So you can make them at home too. I would love to know if anyone's actually cooking and following this along. I know it might be a bit hard to follow along my recipes because I'm just talking most of the time. It might give you enough time to get out your stuff too and follow along because of how slow I am. But if you do ever follow my videos, let me know and you cook something that I've made. I would love to hear it. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to fourth. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is about a pound, so if you have more than that, you'll do that for all your pounds. And make a little ball for each of the sections. You know what I forgot to put? Worcestershire sauce and liquid smoke. I'm going to do that. So I had a thought to put some Worcestershire sauce in it, but how do y'all say Worcestershire sauce? And have some liquid smoke too. I'll put in this. Probably just about a teaspoon. About a teaspoon of this too. I just realized you couldn't see me putting liquid smoke on it. So now I'm going to mix it. You don't want to overmix the ground beef, but just enough. I could probably turn this one into 2. Might be a bit smaller. You can double patty it up too if you want to. So I do have a hamburger press, but I don't use that one too much. So I just like to use my hand. You want to take it, form it like a meatball, and then press it down into like a circle. So last time I made patty melts, I made them with turkey meat instead of ground beef, but today I'm using ground beef. And patty melts are different than hamburgers because you use sliced bread instead. So I'll press that. And there's a trick people do so your patties don't shrink and get smaller. You want to put a little hole in the center, but not like a deep enough hole, just kind of an indent in the center of the patty. And you want to do that for all your hamburger patties. It'll still shrink, but it just won't shrink as much as it probably would without that indent. Well, I put this indent where it's like a donut hole kind of. Then I have these smaller ones here. These big ones are kind of big, but it's good for sliced bread. You can form them with your hands too. So I have this pan. It's been on the stove top. I put it on about 6, so medium. I'm going to spray it with a bit of avocado oil. Then you want to take your burger patties and put them on the pan. It'll cook 2 at a time. It doesn't take long. Maybe about total of 4 minutes, so 2 minutes on each side. Alright, I'm back. So I took a little break to clean up, and then I took these out the oven. I put them all on one pan, and I seasoned them with a little salt. They're kind of cold now, but I can just put them back in the oven. I also finished all the hamburger patties. That's what they look like. I think I have about 6 of them with a pound. I just put some foil on top of them. It retains the heat. So I'm also going to do some mushrooms and onions. It's really hot in here. I'm sweating right now. But I have some frozen mushrooms here. In the pan, I'll put some oil in the pan. I have a yellow onion here. I'm going to do some caramelized onions and sauteed mushrooms to go on the patty melts. So I'll just dice these up or slice them. I see some people online, they do they do this and then they cut really fast. I don't know how to do that. How I cut is kind of dangerous, but this is how I've always been doing it. I think this might be good. So I have my pan on about medium heat, and you want to take the onions, very greasy right now, but you want to take the onions and separate them. I'm just cutting off this part, the yellow part. This is the yellow onion. You can use, so I'm using frozen mushrooms. You can use fresh mushrooms, or you can use frozen onions. If you want to, when you caramelize your onions, you can put some brown sugar on them and other things, seasonings and spices. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put some more of the same seasonings on this one. Or just salt and pepper. I usually just do salt and pepper actually. So I'm going to cut up this other fourth of the half of the onion. I like to let the onions heat up a bit, and then think maybe around the 5-minute, 8-minute mark, that's when I add a little water to it. And let the water evaporate. The onions got getting in my eyes, and my eyes are starting to burn. That's it. That's the downside of onions. Someone said there's a trick. So you freeze your onion for a little bit, and then you can cut it, and it won't be as potent. I remember one time I was cutting onions. I was like, I have some water coming down my eyes now, tears. But one time I wore I wore swim goggles while I was cooking because it actually blocked the fumes. The onions were too intense. So here are my onions. I'm just going to put those on the stove for a little bit. So while those onions are sauteing, I thought I'd show you how to make the sauce. It's super simple. Mayonnaise and ketchup. You can add paprika, some relish if you want to, garlic powder in it, but I'm just going to do these two basic sauces. So here's a trick, or here's a secret, a restaurant secret. If any restaurant is talking about secret sauce, these two are the main ingredients to it. There you go. Ketchup and mayonnaise. That's the secret sauce. If it has pickles in it, they just use dill relish. Yeah, because I've noticed, I was like, these all kind of taste the same and they all look the same color. Every time I see that, the same color and the same taste, I'm like, it's just mayonnaise and ketchup. They always like to say secret sauce or Bob sauce or something like that. Not a secret. So the onions, they're kind of getting soft and browning. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of water to it. This is my secret. That was probably about a tablespoon and a half. Just let the water evaporate. So back to the sauce. I'll use about 3 tablespoons. Let's do 4. You can use this for your fries too. So let's do 5 tablespoons. 5 tablespoons of mayonnaise and even it out 50-50. So this is about a half a cup. My goodness. I should get a bigger bowl. And half a cup of ketchup, and you just want to mix it around. So you can use this on your burger and the fries too. And you want to mix it real good. Mix it real good. Salt and pepper. Song right there that I was just singing. I need a bigger bowl, but let's see if the light will change. It will not. So it's kind of a darker Pepto-Bismol color. But that's the sauce. You see, it's not really mixed all the way through. I'll show you how to do the bread next. So I have some naked classic white bread, sliced bread, and some Land O'Lakes butter, the spreadable kind. So the onions, they're caramelized. They're nice and brown now. That's when the water helps with that. That's my trick that I've found out on my own. I'm sure someone else has probably done this before, but usually I just see people brown it in oil. And I'll put the mushrooms here. So I have the mushrooms and onions now. And I'll put this back on the stove for about maybe 5 minutes. And then I'll season it when it's all done. So this is how I do the bread. I like to put butter on the bread and then toast it. Naked bread is probably my favorite slice of bread. I'm sure you all know how to do this, but just take a teaspoon of butter and put it on your bread, and then put that on in the skillet. The thing is, if the pan is too hot, it'll burn your butter, so you have to be careful about that. Usually I like to do the bread and then I like to cook that when it's done. Then I clean the pan off and put it back on the stove. That just stops it from burning and let all the pieces get brown and nice. So I'll put that on the stove top. It'll probably take a bit at the beginning because the pan has to heat up, but it should be good. So you want to put it down maybe for about 2 minutes, flip it 2 minutes, and you're done. And I have a pan here, and I forgot what this is called, but one of these on top of it, a rack. And I put it down, and then when the bread is done, I'll put that on top of that and put it in the oven so it can stay warm. Put it in the oven for about 200 degrees. That's the trick for all your food. So if you have something and you want to keep it warm, just put it in a 200-degree oven, and it should stay warm, like you cooked it new. So I'll do my bread, and then I'll be back to show the final product. And the mushrooms, they're still cooking, so the mushrooms, since they're frozen, it gave off a lot of water. So I'm going to have to evaporate the water, which would probably take another 8 minutes. And 5 minutes, and then I'll season it, and I'll be done. And I'll put the fries back in the oven too, because they're definitely cold. I thought I'd show you how to assemble it. So I had to microwave this, so take your bread and then put some of the sauce on top of it. I put like a tablespoon of sauce on it. And then your burger, and I put cheddar cheese slice on it. Cheddar cheese slice, and then mushrooms and onions. Ooh. I'm surprised I haven't dropped anything on the laptop. And that's a patty melt right there. There's my bread. I toasted that up. And then some fries. And that's the patty melt. my forehead's so oily. This might be my thumbnail because I'm tired of making thumbnails. Wait, hold on. Looks rough. Okay, but that's it. See ya.